Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the HEG Ltd Q3 FY'24 earnings conference call organized by SKP Securities Ltd. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Naveen Agrawal, Head Institutional Equities at SKP Securities Ltd. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of HEG Ltd and SKP Securities to this financial results conference call with the leadership team at HEG. We have with us Mr. Ravi Jhunjhunwala, Chairman, Managing Director and CEO, Mr. Raju Jhunjhunwala, Vice Chairman, along with their colleagues, Mr. Manish Gulati, Executive Director, Mr. Om Prakash Ajmera, Group CFO, and Mr. Kulshan Kumar Sakuja, CFO. We'll have the opening remarks from Mr. Jhunjhunwala, followed by a Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, Raviji.
Thank you, Nikunj. And friends, good afternoon and welcome to our Q3 financial results conference call for the year 23-24. As per World Steel Association's data, total world steel production did not register any growth in 2023 as compared to 2022 and remained more or less similar at the same level of 1882 million tons last year. Similarly, world steel production outside of China also remained similar at the similar levels at 2022 at about 868 million tons. Chinese steel production, while growing in the first half of 2023, dropped significantly in the second half and full year period of 23 to 1,020 million tons, which was again in the same region as 2022 due to demand erosion. However, persistent low demand, domestic demand within China, resulted into increased Chinese steel exports, which increased by about 34% from 67 million tons in 2022 to 97 million tons in 23, obviously putting pressure on steel production in the rest of the world. Amongst some of the large steel producing regions, US stood at the same level in 2023 at about 81 million tons as in 2022, while production in EU declined by about 7%. India at the same time grew by about 12% on the back of healthy domestic demand from infrastructure and real estate sectors. Here we need to remember that in India, steel production is predominantly through blast furnace route, and also a significant portion of steel is also produced from induction furnaces, which is not our customer segment. We continue to concentrate on our exports, which remained at above 70% of our total sales in the first 3 quarters of the current year. Coming specifically to our Q3 performance, as you can see from our results, the electrode pricing remains under pressure, although we operated at about 85% capacity utilization for all the 3 quarters combined at 80,000 ton capacity. Due to long duration of production cycle for our products, till the previous quarter, the commercial production from our expanded capacity to 100,000 tons did not go into the market. We will start selling electrodes from this quarter from this expanded capacity. However, our capacity utilization remains the highest amongst all the Western world graphite electrode companies. The needle coke prices keep correcting due to difficult market conditions, but there is always a time lag between needle coke procurement time and sales of finished electrodes. As you know, our production cycle varies between 2.5 months to 5.5 months. Our raw material inventory levels are now normalized and we do not have any inventory overhang. Global economic uncertainty continues to limit steel demand and thus constraining steel production. We do not see much improvement in steel production in 2024 also. However, the positive for our industry is that the decarbonization efforts have now become an irreversible process with more and more electric arc furnaces, greenfield electric arc furnaces being announced every month. Till date, as per our information, more than 90 million tons of new greenfield capacities have already been announced in different parts of the world, with US and EU leading these numbers. And we keep seeing such announcements regularly. Out of this, about 9 to 10 million tons is already into operation. Another 30 million tons is expected to be operation between current year and 2025, and rest of it post-25. As we have said in our earlier calls, we expect graphite electrode demand to increase gradually by about 150 to 200,000 tons by 2029-2030. This is a significant increase over current demand of about 500 to 600,000 tons of ultra-high power electrodes, excluding China. Just to repeat the context for anyone who is new listening to this call, steel industry causes 7 to 8% of total man-made pollution in the world and about 23% of all industrial pollution. Steel produced through blast furnace emits about 4 times more carbon than the same steel produced through the electric arc furnace, and this is what is giving a very strong push all over the world, where companies are switching from blast furnaces to electric arc furnaces. The Western world production through electric arc furnaces without China, which used to be around 44% 6-7 years ago, has already reached 50% in 2023 and is likely to exceed 55% in the next 3-4 years. Friends, as you know, we have successfully completed our expansion and our new facilities are running perfectly well. Other than HEG, no other company has announced any new capacities in the Western world. It takes at least 4 to 5 years to build a new greenfield capacity and about 2 to 3 years to expand an existing brownfield plant. On the contrary, one of the leading graphite companies has recently announced closure of one of their plants in US with a capacity of about 25,000 tons. You are aware that HEG has been exporting more than 2/3 of its production to some 30+ countries for a very long time, and we have a diverse and established customer base, and we are working hard to get a larger piece of their requirements, and we also keep adding new customers from time to time in several countries. In this backdrop, our expanded capacity of 20,000 tons per annum has come at an opportune time when the electrode market is likely to expand at a fairly fast pace around the world. While we remain solidly upbeat about the continuous growth of electric arc furnace production in the coming decades, resulting into continuous rise in electrode demand, at present we are seeing a period of subdued steel production due to several global factors, which is likely to continue through the first half of 2024, resulting into subdued demand for our products for the next few quarters. We believe electric arc furnaces will grow at a CAGR of about 3 to 3.5% in the next decade, which would directly translate into a substantial increase in electrode demand. And in the backdrop of fairly high technology area that we are operating in, we don't see any newcomer or any new electrode company coming into business. We at HEG have been operating world's largest graphite plant under one roof with a capacity of 80,000 tons for a long time. And currently, with our expansion to 100,000 tons, which is now operational, we are now amongst the lowest cost producers in the world due to economies of scale and our operational efficiencies. Now, a couple of words about our new subsidiary, TACC. Due to economies of scale in the capex outflow and considering the huge demand expected in the EV sector, the board has approved the decision to start with a 20,000-ton graphite anode powder plant in one go, which initially we were planning to do in two phases of 10,000 tons each. The land is already acquired and the construction has started, which we intend to complete by mid-2025. We'll keep you informed about this progress from time to time. In conclusion, friends, our third quarter 23-24 has been satisfactory given the tough market conditions under which we are operating. The next 2-3 quarters may see margins remaining under some pressure, but we are hoping that the demand would come back sometime from second half of 2024. And we are going to take full advantage of our expanded capacity. We have all the technological capacities, operational efficiencies, and market reach to take our company forward and to succeed and thrive in all emerging situations, creating long-term value for our shareholders. With this, I'll now pass on the floor to our CFO, Gulshan, who will take us through the financial figures. Following that, our Vice Chairman, Riju, and our Executive Director, Manish, and I will be delighted to address any inquiries you may have regarding electrodes and also graphite anode powder. Over to Gulshan.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, friends. I will now briefly take you through company's operating and financial performance for the quarter ended 31st December 2023. HEG recorded revenue from operations of rupees 562 crores as against rupees 614 crores in the previous quarter and rupees 530 crores in the corresponding quarter of the previous year. Revenue for the quarter saw a decrease of 8.5% as compared to the previous quarter. During the quarter ended 31st December 2023, the company delivered EBITDA, including other income, of rupees 110 crores as against 130 crores in the previous quarter and rupees 170 crore in the corresponding quarter of the previous financial year. The company, on a standalone basis, recorded a net profit after tax of rupees 37 crores for the quarter ended 31st December 2023 as against 62 crores in the previous quarter and 103 crores in the corresponding quarter of the previous financial year. The company is a long-term debt-free and having treasury size of nearly 950 crores as on 31st December 2023. Now to take more questions from the participants, a detailed presentation has been uploaded on the company's website and on the stock exchange. Now we would like to address any questions or queries you have in your mind. Over to Naveen.
Thank you very much, sir. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask questions may please press star and 1 on their touchtone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use only handsets while asking a question and limit themselves to 2 questions. You may join the queue again and time permitting, we will take your follow-up questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Pritesh from Lucky Investments. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. You mentioned the capacity utilization at 85% in 9 months. Can you give us the capacity utilization for quarter 3?
Quarter 3 alone?
Yeah.
It's more or less same. A couple of percentages plus minus. It's in the same region. We have been consistently running, let's say, at that level for the last 3 quarters.
So which means the volume growth in 9 month over 9 month is largely flat, right? It's a flat volume.
See, if you will see a volume growth compared between the 2 fiscals. So 9 months, yes, there has been a volume growth, and by the time we close the year, we believe that we would have sold about 10 to 12% more than last year. So you can take this figure of 10 to 12% for the 9 months.
Okay. And sir, on the spread side, so what we see is that there is a continuous spread reduction from quarter 1 to quarter 2 to quarter 3. When you're saying that the capacity utilization is largely similar. So if you could just share the spread in dollar terms, what should be the spread?
Dollar terms will become a very specific answer to be given in public domain. But if you just take our results, I think you can make a very good guess yourself about how our spreads have fared between the 3 quarters. They have been coming down. That is sure. That is what you see in our bottom line. And the main reason for that is, the needle coke prices have also been coming down. But actually, there's a lag effect where electrodes take 2 months to make and nipples take 5 months to make. So when electrodes fall, it takes time for the spread to adjust. The consumption needle coke price is higher and the electrode prices are lower for that particular quarter. So that's what hurts. That's very unique to us just because of long process times.
Okay. And so my last question is, we are hearing about this electric arc furnace-led capacity addition from your side and electric arc furnace-led steel growth from your side for the last 5-6 quarters now. So let's say when you're giving the steel production number of 1,883 million and saying it's flat, what is the electric arc production from electric arc furnace and the growth rate?
You see, as I gave you that figure in my short speech, it used to be 44% till about 5-6 years ago, minus China, and which has gone up to about 50%. So in the international concept, 44 to 50 is like 15-17% increase, which is pretty substantial if you look at the whole world. And in the next 3-4 years, this is probably going to go beyond 55 to 58%. So which will be like from 45% to 57, 58 or close to 60% over a 6, 7, 8 year period.
Sir, I was asking about calendar year 23. What is the production growth from electric arc furnace? Is there any growth?
See, I'll give color to that. You see, the electric arc furnace steel it will be about 430 odd MMT in rest of the world, and add about 120 coming from China, 110 or 20. Then they'll be late to come with figures. So should we view if your question is how much of that 1,888 million metric tons is electric arc furnace, my answer would be about 540 to 550.
And this 430, has it grown this year?
See, 430, as you have seen in the figures in World Steel Association, we also mentioned in the call, it's absolutely stagnant for all regions. China did grow in the first half, then dropped in the second half, and then the rest of the world exactly at the same level. If you look at 22 figures, steel figures, and 23, they add up to almost exactly the same number, with barring 1 or 2 million tons in such a large base. So the steel production has been stagnant, and thus the electric arc furnace as a proportion of that has also been stagnant.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mihir Vyas from 9 Rays Equity Research. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to ask, can you give some color on potential revenue and margins from the anodes business?
Will you take that?
Yeah. Yeah, the potential, see, we are investing around 2,000 crores into this particular business, and the investment to output ratio should be more or less 1:1, or depending on the qualities, around 1:1.3. And as of today, as per our business plan, we are assuming a safe margin of around 25 to 30% EBITDA on this particular business going concern, second year onwards, kind of, you can say.
Okay.
And the plant production should start around March or April of 2025.
Okay. Thank you. And one more question I wanted to ask. How much drop in EBITDA margin is expected due to the drop in demand and excess supply from China?
India does not produce any. If you're asking about the anode powder, today India does not produce any anode powder.
I'm asking about the electrodes.
Electrode, Manish will answer that, I think.
Yes, sir. See, you are specifically asking about what is the impact going to be because of China. My answer to that would be that China predominantly makes and also exports the high power grade, which is not the ultra high power grade. They're not yet established as the main players are. They're trying, but we do not see that. We do not relate this to in this way, that because of China, what is going to be the margin reduction. We don't look at it this way. We look at our segment in which we operate, where we are strong, that is ultra high power grade, where the Western producers are the main competitors in that segment.
Okay. So I believe there won't be any reduction in capacity utilization for the same reasons. So I was asking, I hope there won't be any reduction in the capacity utilization because of these reasons, right?
No, we have operated at 85% all through the year. We are working at highest capacity utilization in all of the industry. And as we go to this 24, we'll be counting ourselves as 100,000 ton capacity. Of course, for some 1 or 2 quarters, just because we now base our utilization percentage on 1 lakh tons, you will see a little bit of reduction in that. But we'll climb up on that, and we are sure that within a matter of 1 to 2 years, we'll be within a matter of 1 year, we'll be back at 85% on 100,000 also.
So if you compare some of our, we have only 3 or 4 main competitors in the world. If you exclude China, and as Manish rightly explained, we are not really competing with China in that segment. So in this higher segment, there are only 3, 4 companies in the world, and if you are tracking them, it's all public information. At least one of them is operating at low 40s, 40, 42, 45% kind of utilization. The others are in the region of 60, 65, and we still believe that we are at 85%, which is probably the highest in the industry.
Okay. And one more question. How is our arrangement with suppliers, contracts on quarterly, half-yearly or yearly basis?
It's normally quarterly. In a declining market of electrodes and a declining market of raw material, it is quarterly.
Okay. Sure. I'll join the queue if I need something else. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all the participants that you may please press star and 1 to ask questions. The next question is from the line of Saurabh Jain from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. My question is about graphite anode facility. Recently, there has been, news article that says after Toyota, BMW has also said goodbye to electric cars. So what are your thoughts for our upcoming anode facility, considering the huge capex we are doing? Also, there has been other articles saying that lithium-ion battery performance has reached a plateau in recent years, and using silicon instead of graphite enables significantly higher energy density and faster charging. So that's why it's been focused by many OEMs, global OEMs like GM, Mercedes, even Airbus. So I know on the last call also you had clarified that you don't seem threatened by this development, but this news has been quite persistent for last couple of quarters, and now it is a strong signal after Toyota, what BMW did last week. Yeah, your thoughts, please.
So there is, there are new developments happening almost on a weekly basis. New kinds of technologies, new kind of things. But as far as the core goes, I think lithium-ion batteries are here to stay for the next 2 decades, at least 2 to 3 decades. And some kind of improvisation will keep happening, mixing of silicon, mixing of some other elements. But graphite, as the core conductor of this thing, would not we do not foresee a big change in volume. Again, like you have lithium-ion batteries, everyone's talking about sodium-ion batteries as far as the stationary applications go. There also, we will be in a position to produce sodium-ion, the raw material for sodium-ion batteries as well. And in the next few years, I think lithium-ion as the main infrastructure for moving batteries is not something that we at least seem to this thing about of being replaced by something else. You keep seeing changes, you keep seeing whatever, but the infrastructure once made for lithium-ion in terms of charging, etc., we do not see that thing changing. And plus the big plants of lithium-ion batteries that are coming up in India, they are already been announced and they have already been implemented, and they have more than 50,000 gigawatt hour of facility that is coming up within India by established names like Exide, Amar Raja, Reliance, Ola, etc. That itself means graphite, the powder consumption of around 50,000 tons, which will include stationary applications also. So, this question will keep happening, every 1 month some new technology will come and innovation happening over there, and rest assured there's a lot of innovation happening at our own end also. How to keep pace with all these innovations so that we can keep, trying to produce the raw material that will ultimately be required for these applications.
Okay, that's helpful, sir. Sir, my last question is if you can point out some difference or your opinion on how come we are, our utilization is around 85% while other players are running at 40 to 65%?
We are more competitive. This is the relative performance. That's all I can say. Competitive on cost, competitive in marketing, whatever. But that's true.
Okay, fine, sir. That's all from my side. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Majumdar from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So I had a few questions. I just wanted to know, you mentioned about the world's largest producer operating at 40% utilization. It's common knowledge now. So is there any takeover opportunity for any M&A activity available within the space right now?
There are only 3 pro players. There's nothing hidden in this industry. If you really study whatever is available, there are only 3, 4 players. So whatever will happen, if at all it happens, it has to be only between these 3, 4, nothing else.
Actually, let me ask this question the other way around. Now even at 40% utilization, the cash losses are about $1,000 for this player. So how is it likely to play out? Either it shuts down or it gets acquired and then the prices start moving up, or will the prices start moving up on its own? And the related question to that is, the prices start moving up again, is there enough capacity in the world today to absorb this, the new demand? Because if the industry is operating at around 50% or 60% rate, then even if the demand grows in the next 2 or 3 quarters, then there's adequate capacity available to absorb this demand. We can put a cap on the prices.
You see, as far as your first question is concerned, I mean, obviously, nobody can talk about it in public domain. I mean, the second question, yeah, you are right. I mean, whatever is the overall capacity utilization, whether it is 40 or 70 or 80, it'll keep going up as the demand keeps growing. But just to clarify one point, which is very typical in our industry, it takes, as I said, between 2 to 2.5 months for the easiest electrode to produce, and it takes as long as 5 to 6 months for something called nipples, which is a pin which joins the two electrodes.
Right. Yeah.
Although the weight is only 4%, but without that nipple, the electrodes are of no use. So that takes anywhere between 5 to 6 months, depending on the size, quality, and things like that. So given that the process is very long and not just long, but there are 4 or 5 different processes within which the electrode is produced. So even in the very peak demand or highest prices that this industry saw in 2017, 18, 19, the overall capacity utilization of each one of us combined or separately, I don't remember the exact number, but it would not be more than 90%. Because it's not easy to run the entire plant with 5 different processes at more than 90-91%. I mean, something or the other in the large plant does break down, and that has an impact on the whole supply chain, on the whole production chain. So given this peculiar issue with regard to our industry, where let's say 100% is 90 and not 100, so this is what it is. So the demand of electrode, I mean, if we are talking about 90 million tons, which is already 90 million tons of new electric arc furnace capacities which are already announced. And it is a lot of this information is in public domain as to who is putting up what size of a plant, and when are these plants going to be operational. The growth is going to be very large. I mean, once this 90 is all established and operational, the increase in demand will be, I mean, I'm just quoting somebody else meaning one of our competitors. I mean, they are talking in terms of 200,000 tons. And this 90 million tons is not a fixed number. I mean, as you can imagine, we track this part of the information very closely every month, every week. And this number keeps increasing. I mean, as late as 3-4 weeks ago, this number used to be 84-85 million tons. So in the last 30 days itself, there have been new announcements of 5-6 million tons. So it keeps increasing because this carbon emission and environment is here to stay. It is not going to go away anytime soon. And especially in America and Europe and other parts of the Western world, they're taking it extremely seriously. So basically, this is the answer to your inquiry.
Yeah, right, sir. And my other question was regarding an additional 20 KT. Who is the supplier of needle coke for this? Because as I understand that there are a limited number of needle coke, petroleum grade needle coke suppliers, and that is a big constraint in the graphite electrode space.
No, it's not a constraint. I mean, there are 4 or 5 suppliers. But yes, I mean, if the electrode industry gets back to 95% capacity utilization, then the demand of needle coke and the capacity of needle coke and the demand of needle coke for the graphite industry will be more or less matching. There is still enough capacity to supply. I mean, there will be occasional mismatch where maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, somebody will be short of supplies. But at current level of 80-90 million tons of additional capacity of electric arc furnaces coming in, resulting into more demand of electrode, the supply of needle coke and demand of needle coke is more or less going to match.
And if I can have a last question, is there any capacity coming in needle coke anywhere in the world? Any envisaged capacity?
No, nothing. And I don't have that figure in mind, but probably the last needle coke plant would have been put about 45-50 years ago. So it's like exactly like graphite. I mean, we came into production in 1977, and today we are in 2024, so close to 50 years, 47 years. There has not been any new greenfield plant anywhere in the world. So it's exactly the same situation in needle coke. Probably I'm wrong when I'm saying 47, 50 years. I mean, needle coke, last needle coke plant would have been more than like 60, 65 years.
Okay. Okay, so thank you.
In both the cases, it's not a question about technology.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sahil Sanghvi from Monarch Network Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, sir. So, my question is more of about the supply-demand dynamics. I mean, while we, on this call only discussed that probably the world ex-China demand for, electrodes has not gone up or down much. And on the other side, world ex-China electrode manufacturers utilization has slightly reduced. So I just wanted to understand that why in that case is the pressure so much on pricing, and is this because one of the reasons is the Chinese electrodes, because I hear that some of the HP electrodes also can be blended along with the UHPs. So just if you can explain this a little bit in detail.
I'll take the second part first. I mean, it's not possible to replace UHP electrode by HP. I mean, because there's a difference in definition. I don't know what you mean by HP and UHP. These are very loosely used terms. But to answer specifically, in a furnace, if you require a particular quality of electrode, which is, let's say, called UHP, you can't replace it by HP. It is basically, it's not a matter of that instead of 2 kilos per ton of steel, you can use 3 kilos per ton by switching from UHP to HP. HP will just not work. It is not a question of 20, 30, 40% more consumption. So you need an electrode which will withstand the high temperatures in a UHP furnace. So that's the first answer. And what was the second question? If you just repeat that.
Yeah. So my question was that what is the primary reason for the pressure on the prices of electrodes? Because I mean, on one side we are saying that the demand for electrode world ex-China is not grown or moved much, and on the other side there has been these utilizations of few companies ex-China which has come down. So I mean, what's the real reason for the pricing pressure?
I mean, you're answering your own question. I mean, obviously there are 4 or 5 players in the industry, and whoever is more competitive will sell more. I mean, we believe our quality is as good as anybody else, and we also believe that our cost structure is better than most of the others. So this is obvious.
Okay. Got it, sir. Got it. Thank you, sir. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sandeep Machar from Machar Industries Limited. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are.
So basically, I'm an investor. I have 2 questions. One, you said that you have already running at a capacity utilization of 85%. And now, as I understand that we are ready with additional expanded capacity of 30,000 tons. So that means first we'll be able to achieve 100% capitalization of existing capacity, then only we can, I think, go for the additional expanded capacity. So by when we expect the additional capacity to be used? That is my first question. The second question is regarding the new expansion. You just mentioned that you have started construction for the graphites which are used by EV industry. So I just wanted to know by when we expect that expansion to be completed and commercial production in place. These are the two questions.
Okay, I'll answer the second one, which is easy. I mean, I already said in my opening remarks, we expect to be in production by, let's say, second half of 2025. So let's say sometime in July, August, September.
Okay.
Your first question about capacity utilization, soon we can have, it can be 1 to 2 year time, really depends. I mean, it's a very difficult, to pinpoint a month or a period when the demand will increase. It's an extremely difficult question, but only thing which is very satisfying to us is that we are still operating at 75, 80, 85% utilization. So which obviously indicates that our quality is acceptable, our margins are better than most of the other players. So which obviously means that we have some competitive advantage and our quality is similar to what others are doing.
Okay, sir. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vipro Srivastava from InCred Research. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Just had a question on Turkey. So, based on the data, as far as electrodes import in Turkey are concerned, China is a very big player in Turkey. So, wanted to understand what kind of electrodes does Turkey import from China? Is it UHP or would it pose a significant risk to our business? How do you look at that?
See, most of the electrodes you will see in your, the data which you are referring to, you will find that most of them are HEG grade. You will also see some quantities here and there of the ultra high power grade because see, the furnaces are different and there are very high powered furnaces, there are low powered furnaces. So when you will yourself look at the data, you'll be able to figure out that in Turkey also they might be doing a trial here and there. But all I can say is that if you look at the big steel companies, they're not at that level yet that they will be reliably given 30-40% of the business consistently year after year. And also that level is not there. Of course, they can make trial here and there.
Right. Okay. Noted. My second question was on the anode facility coming up. So just had two questions on that. First of all, about the technical expertise required for manufacturing of anodes. Do we have that technical capabilities or are we doing it in tie-up with some other company? How are we going about that?
So in terms of the people, this thing, I mean, that consists of 6-7 various processes, but the main process there also remains the graphitization. And in graphitization, we are talking more about the older type of furnaces that HEG does not almost use today, which are the Atchison furnaces, which are widely used for the anode applications. So there we already have a very good, pool of resources in-house, which we are already deploying on the design and development phase also of the facility. The rest of the facilities are more or less machine-led, which do not require too much of, manual intervention. But yes, there's a lot of R&D required on, which kind of raw material to process. And so there's a lot of trial and error over there, for which one needs to work very closely with the customers that we are already doing with our pilot plant currently. So we already have a state-of-the-art pilot plant that is fully producing around 10 tons per month, and that has already started sampling with some large companies and trying to work along with them for their kind of requirements. So no, there is no technical tie-up with one particular company, but from time to time we will be taking help from whichever technical resource required.
Okay, noted. And the other thing is the manufacturing of anodes. One significant cost is power cost, right? Because it's a very big component of anode manufacturing. So how will be the facility sourcing power for this anode facility?
So we've selected the state of Madhya Pradesh for this particular industry, in which we are getting a lot of subsidies from the government. And one particular subsidy is around a 50 paisa reduction on the power cost for this particular facility. So the net cost of power to us should not be more than 5 rupees 50 paisa for this facility when it comes up. And apart from that, obviously, the whole focus of the buyers in this particular industry is how much of green electricity are you producing, for which we are already in touch with a lot of, solar and wind manufacturers who work closely along with us to have a kind of dedicated facility of 200 megawatts, 100 megawatts, that kind of a number, in which we can do a buyback arrangement from them for electricity. So that is still work in progress, but that will further bring the cost of power down for us, which we hope which will not be more than 5 rupees as a weighted average cost of power. We have assumed around 5.5 to 6 rupees in our business plan, but I'm quite sure by the time we work on it, we should be able to save on some power costs over there.
Okay. Last question. So, as far as Indian anode market is concerned, how do you see it developing? I mean, are there customers who are thinking of manufacturing batteries in-house? Because currently a lot of these batteries are imported from China. So how do you see this landscape changing? How is the ecosystem developing as far as the anode manufacturing in India is concerned?
So the Indian battery, this thing you must have already read, around 50 gigawatt hour of lithium-ion battery manufacturing has already been signed up by the government. They've increased this by 10 gigawatt hour more. So there is a lot of scope for anode production over there. And apart from us, Himadri and so one or two more players, no one has announced very, very serious kind of capacities for the lithium-ion batteries so far. So we see ourselves as, HEG has to be the leader in this as far as the timing goes. And that's what Chairman also mentioned when he said that we will start commercial production by the second half of 2025.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question in the queue. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Jhunjhunwala for closing remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Craig, for asking some very pertinent and very pointed questions. I'm grateful to you for your interest in our company, and I will continue to engage with you on a quarterly basis and hopefully with some better results, with some better numbers. Thank you very much for that, and see you again after about 3 months.
Thank you, members of the management. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of SKP Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. We thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.